All right. So that was a convincing win for White Noise. We saw a little bit of grudge, a little bit of firing at illegal targets like pods. We'll get back to that in a second. We've swapped CCP Shark out with CCP Caveman. How are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you.
It's nice to have you back on. What do you do at CCP?
I'm a associate producer working on mainstream game development. When I started, I was in localization. I'm getting the game translated into Russian and German at the time. And for the last 2 years, I've been working on the feature teams. Started out on Evegate, one of the more controversial features of the last few years, I guess. And not shying away from controversy, carried on with Character Creator and finally the Virtual Goods Store, which has been going to be released this month.
All right. So you started out on Evegate.
Yes.
Are you still in any way involved with what's coming up, or?
No, not directly. It's not something I know that much about. I know they've got some good plans coming up, and to try and take it back to its original design principles, and make it relevant and a usable tool for everyone. But beyond that, I don't know many details.
All right. But the Character Creator, it's not just signed, sealed, delivered. We're going to make changes to it.
Definitely.
What can people look forward to?
We want to introduce a lot more cool stuff. The biggest and coolest thing at the moment we have waiting in the wings is to iterate on the tattoos. We've got some really nice sleeves, full arm sleeves that we've got that are going to be based on a layer system. And the reason we haven't been able to release them yet is because the UI on top of the assets hasn't been made ready yet. But we've got kind of like potentially up to 125 permutations of these tattoos that you'll be able to customize. We might not be able to release that the first time. We might just go with a system where we really pre-select them or pre-make them for you, and you can have those that way. But the ultimate vision is to have them completely customizable.
Oh, that sounds hot. So CCP Shark can basically do his
tattoos. Recreate his beautiful
All right,
sleeves that he has. Yeah.
That is cool stuff.
Yes.
That is cool stuff. So White Noise and Solar Fleet. One of the things that kind of looked a little bit strange is like the setup on Solar Fleet. It was Vindicator, Balgor, and Loki, and Absolution. What were they trying to do?
Really trying to take advantage of these small ship number setups that use a lot of high damage ships. So they're all good ships to have. Vindicators or Balgorns are both great tournament ships, whether you can justify the cost. Absols and Lokis, both quality ships as well. But you really need to have more ships, I think, to have a very strong setup. And coming up against a team that is going to be webbing you down with the double Hugens, damping you, and then hitting you from range, having the small number of slow ships is not what you want.
Yeah, it was actually in a lot of ways really similar to the red match, the RVB match, where not very many ships has a really hard time with a control setup that can manipulate their lack of numbers pretty easily and lack of speed, because obviously the Vindicator and Balgorn are going to have a hard time chasing them across the arena. And that's actually what we saw. Like Ravy was talking about, you do get some opportunities, especially if there's any kind of error as they get close to the arena edge, and they were able to snag that Drake, but for the most part, it's pretty easy for White Noise to just use the field and keep away from them.
Yeah, I mean, the White Noise team is going to have 6, maybe 8 webs on the Hugens, and if you've got 10 ships, it's a lot harder to keep them all webbed than if you've only got 8 or 7 ships.
Then you basically have one for each.
Yeah.
All right, so you mentioned the Hugin and the number of webs, so these control ships. So what is it? You stack it with webs and you just basically try and slow everything down?
Yeah, usually you count on range and the damps from your other ship as being the tank. Try to leave the tank as thin as you can get away with. Have a lot of webs and just hold the enemy back while you surround them and hit them from range.
Yeah, and there really was an enormous amount of damps. We could see that when the match started, that there was just, every ship on the White Noise side is pouring damps into.
Yeah, you have damps on the Drakes, damps on the bombers.
Yeah.
All right. White Noise certainly hasn't disappointed so far. They've been really, really good. If anyone was watching the split damage between the Loki and the Absolution, not bad of seeing. There might have been perfectly legit reasons for splitting damage.
Well, yeah. You notice at the start of the match there actually wasn't much damage at all, and a lot of that's because they're trying to manage that range advantage as well as they can, and a big part of that is going to be shooting at the closest thing to them. So if that changes for some reason, if there's the Abso makes a run at their team, and he's all of a sudden the closest thing, he might be the only thing the bombers can shoot at, and then if he gets webbed down, or the Drakes, and then if he gets webbed down and left behind, and then one of the battleships catches up, or the Hugin or whatever it is, they might switch. So it definitely doesn't necessarily mean bad FCing.
Yeah, it's always tricky to keep far enough away from your opponents while also still being able to do the damage. And with a control setup like that, if you're going to err on one side or the other, you want to err on being too far away than being right on top of a Vindicator.
Yeah, and you want to err on control rather than on like target focus. You don't want to give up any rage advantage just to finish off a ship you've already started on.
Cool. So how many rights do you guys have yet?
I just missed that one, so I'm right.
Let's see.
Three out of 4 so far.
I'm right 3 out of 4 as well. I got the
You
first one
guys all
wrong.
got.
All right. I mostly just asked because I have all of them right, and I just really wanted to kind of throw that out there just so everyone knew. Let's have a look.
I have 2. I'm bad at this.
Don't worry. Okay. Well, let's take a look at the next teams that are coming up. Power 2, WeFun, Voltron.
Very interestingly, the team that White Noise fielded this last match is pretty much identical to the team that Voltron had as their signature setup last year.
Power 2 hasn't lost?
The Power 2, I think they won yesterday. They were kind of the surprise against the Ronin. They were playing the Ronin yesterday, and I was very convinced that based on previous experience, Ronin would win. We had Sinfidel here, and the Power of 2 is like a marketing thing, so he predicted they'd win, and I thought it was a little bit stupid, but then he ended up being entirely
Betting against
right.
Infidel is not a good idea.
No, that's true. That's true. I should listen more to that guy.
If he is wrong, he'll just take you out to dinner and convince you that you're wrong.
Yeah, lovely guy, lovely man. Anyway, so so Power 2 did win yesterday against a bit of a weak Ronin team.
But they fielded a pretty good setup, a strong
They did.
Minotaur team.
They did. Yeah, it wasn't just the Ronin being bad. They were pretty strong. And Voltron beat Aggravated Assault. That does seem like a weak team.
Yeah,
So
but obviously Voltron is good, or
Yes.
at least they have the potential. They've shown.
Voltron came in 3rd place last year, and they earned that 3rd place. They only ended up losing to Hydra in the semifinals.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, and they have formed Voltron, so they are good. I mean, anyway, that's going to be an exciting match. It's coming up in about 2 minutes. Apart from that, we have Black Legion. We have Bane, and I think they're going to beat Nully Secunda and Lack of Imagination, respectively.
I think I agree with that. Black Legion is a team that I'm really looking at being one of the best teams for this tournament. Again, they've got the leadership of the Atlas team from last year and Blankenman before that. A guy named Uki who really knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Great. Was there a question?
Are you in complete agreement? Do you think that's what's going to happen?
Yeah. I mean, I don't obviously have all the.
I think I'm more
Inside
confident
info is like
about
very
Black
bad.
Legion beating Nully Secunda. As good as Nully has been in TQ, and they're always fun to fight against. Bane was good in their first match, but I'm not sure if that cap transfer and Basilisk team is going to be enough to carry them all the way. They kind of relied on it too much last year.
But it's probably good enough against Lack of Imagination.
It might be. Lack, I don't know. They weren't the greatest, but I think they're a team that could surprise people. They're tiny. It's like 30 people in the entire alliance. But it's a corp that used to be in Rooks and Kings, and so they've definitely got some potential.
Were they the ones that had Badgers? Who had the Badgers?
I think it was Lack of Imagination. Yeah.
Well, they certainly have a bit of imagination if they can come up with setups that mold Badgers.
I really wish their name was different.
Yeah, a little bit. Like, we're pretty good at imagination.
No, they were a full battlecruiser team.
All right.
The Feroxes, Brutixes, Cyclones, Prophecies.
Right.
Okay.
Which
Well,
is fine.
Should be good. Should be good. So, you used to be with Hydra.
I still am.
Well, you're still with Hydra?
Yeah.
All right. You're never really tempted to take the leap into someone like PL or Goonswarm or one of these?
I've been trying to convince them.
I'm actually, every time I come here for a tournament, someone convinces me to join their alliance.
Yeah.
I was actually going to join Kia originally, and then I think I was convinced to join Goons by
Really?
Trisbic.
All right.
Yeah. I never do, but
No.
But I'm going to join PL this year.
Okay.
So
Really? Oh. So we might have 3 PL experts next year.
Just go with 5 and be done with it.
But I mean, you guys might finally lose the tournament then.
I think next year we're only going to have Shadu, actually.
Just
We're going to get rid of you two. It's just going to be Shadu.
he's just going to be running back and forth between the studio
It would
and
be
the.
great.
All right.
All
Fine.
should do all the time. I would watch that. I would pay to watch that.
I don't think we would even need matches.
No.
We just.
All right. Aggravated. No, actually, Voltron
Yeah.
versus Power of 2. What do you say?
Voltron.
Yeah, Voltron.
Power of 2 for the same reasons of CCPs
You
and
devs are
Fendels.
so. I can't handle it.
It's going to be Voltron for me as well.